dear viewers, it's Katerina Giulio, and I'm not in the studio today. I'm in the kitchen because I'm cooking you up some really cool papers to use for your journaling process or your flat work, canvas, boards, all of that kind of good stuff. They're yummy, organic dyed papers, and I'm going to show you how to do that right away. First, I want to thank you all for being here and subscribing to my channel. We so appreciate it. And thank you for all your comments and your questions. I love getting back to you, and I love interacting with you, sending me emails. It's been really great to hear from you. So we're going to get started right now. I love organic dyeing. I have been dyeing organically and naturally since the 90s when I started doing Easter eggs. I'm a big believer in organic food, and so I didn't want any kind of chemicals on my Easter eggs, and I began using onion skins and blueberries and things like that for my eggs. And then it just naturally carried over to my art to use it for papers. So in the Sew Somerset issue, this was one of the first things I did, was the Ascension Book of Feathers, and it was all hand dyed with onion skins. And then in this Sew Somerset issue last December, this was my eco-dyed collages, and that was with black beans. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So we're going to start with tea dyeing. And if you think tea dyeing is boring, then I'm here to tell you you're not doing it right. Because there are so many different kinds of teas and there are so many different kinds of colors. This is a chai tea that's a Tazo chai organic tea, and it comes out with a nice brown color, and that's what you're used to seeing. But there are a lot of other products out there that are really amazing. So Lemon Zinger Celestial Seasonings, it creates this pink tea that will sometimes turn pink depending on the papers that you use, and sometimes this wonderful blue color. And I mean, those are pretty yummy, don't you think? I think those are just awesome. This happened because, and these are all different types of papers. If you're a mixed media artist like me, you have scraps and scraps of paper, and this is what I do. I make beautiful backgrounds to use for my work with my scraps, and then I incorporate those in my work. So that's Celestial Seasonings Zinger. And then this is Hibiscus Spice, and it's by Allegro, and it makes this wonderful color. And depending on the paper, and I did several different techniques here, and I'm going to talk to you about the different techniques. It's just this wonderful, rich, bright, vibrant red from hibiscus flowers. I hope you can see that. It's just yummy. So it comes up, you know, like this color. Isn't that great? I just love it. Okay, so that's tea dyeing. Now, one of the things you can do is to take a spoon and drizzle it and move it on the paper. And the other thing is you can take the tea bag and just run it along the paper. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So obviously dripping it with a spoon isn't any big deal, but you can just make these wonderful little squiggly marks with your tea bag, which turns out beautifully as you saw before. Now if you leave this to dry on the metal, of course, and it's wet all the way through, it's going to react with the metal and it'll come out to a different color. So that's pretty fascinating too. So you might want to try that. And also other things, you know, different kinds of paper will react differently. They absorb at different rates. There's all different kinds of chemical things going on, but it's really fun to experiment and play with it. So I urge you to try that. Next thing is beets, cabbage, and I can't remember the third one, but I'll show it to you right now. So yesterday I took the liberty of making some dyes and putting them into containers so we would have some already made. And so I used beets, and this is cabbage, and then this is onion dye, and it's just a yellow onion, it's not a red one. And you can use either one, which I absolutely love, but I want to show you how I did this. And so now we're going to go to the stove, and I'm going to show you with blueberries. It's pretty much the same technique for all of these things. To use organic dyes, you need several things. You're going to need a pot and hot water, and you're going to need the product. Now, if you're using beets or cabbage or onions, obviously you're going to have to slice up the beets, you're going to have to cut them into pieces and put them in the water. The same thing with the cabbage leaves. And with the onion skins, you have to peel the onion skins and use the skins. And I have those for you, I'll show you that. If you're not into cooking at all, then this could seem kind of overwhelming to you. But if you're used to cooking, then this is probably really simple and easy. So these are just frozen blueberries, and you can see they're going to stain my fingers immediately. And I'm going to just put them in the pot, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of hot water. Now, how much hot water? Well, I'm just putting a little bit, and then I'm going to boil it. And we're going to see how much water goes down as we're working on this process. So we're going to come back to this. We'll be back in a minute. I made these last night, and I put them in the refrigerator and then brought them to room temperature. And the difference between the beets is amazing, actually with all of them, because it's a much stronger dye, and I just love that. And I'm going to show you the difference in that in just a minute. But I wanted to show you the different waters, or dyes actually, and then black beans. And I'm just using plain old dried black beans. I just threw a few in the bowl, and then I put a piece of paper in to dye that. And you can see it comes out this lovely kind of purpley green color and tiny little dots from where the beans are. And then I'm just going to hang them up. I've got a clothespin here and a little tray from my kitchen that I usually put my fruit and veggies in. So here's the difference with the beets. Let me move these over here. We'll come back to onions and cabbage. Okay, so this was yesterday. And all I did was I took the paper, folded it up and clipped it, and then poked it into the boiling mixture on the stove. I left it in there for a few minutes and then took it out. And I used this technique several different times in different ways. Now you can just iron the paper and it will come out nice and flat and beautiful. And of course it will help seal the color in the wrinkles. So the difference between that and this color, you can see it's quite a difference. And that's from just letting it soak overnight and saturate with color. So pretty cool. So I love that. And this was from yesterday too. I actually used a piece of the beet leaf on the paper and then rolled it up. And there's a fine imprint of where it was. And then these are different papers. As I said, I love using my scraps. So these are different kinds of papers with different kinds of effects. This one I absolutely love. This is an antique paper. And all I did was take the beet pieces out and just set them on the plate, which I used a baking dish, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I set them out, put the paper down, and then sprinkled the water on it, and it absorbed the beet pieces underneath, which I love it. I think it came out great. Onion skins. Of course, with all of these dyes, you can simply just insert the papers or put them into a larger pan and dye the whole paper, which is really fun. But I also like using it with salt. I hope you can see the sparkle. It leaves a really cool, like glittery texture on the paper. And then just spooning it onto the paper. I love doing that. These are all different kinds of papers. Love it on khadi paper. Makes a huge difference on khadi. And basically you're just going to save the skins, throw them in the pot, and let them boil. That's how easy it is. Now, with all of the dyes, you can make them and then put them in the refrigerator and save them overnight, and the next day they'll be darker, and now you can simply spoon it. Just spoon it on your paper and let it dry. That's how easy it is. One quick thing I wanted to share with you is making bundles. Now, with the onion skins, I put the onion skins inside the paper, rolled it up, tied it with the string, and then I boiled it in the onion water. Now you have to boil it for quite a bit, and this is almost still a little wet, but I hope you can see the markings on here and how beautiful the paper is. The next color I want to show you is red cabbage, which comes out to this wonderful blue. And of course, the longer you let it sit, the better it gets. But some of these blues are pretty spectacular. This is just dipped, and these of course are spooned. And these are all different kinds of paper. And this is what I find fascinating, because this is handmade paper, and it has this wonderful brown color that came up from the tin or the tray that I used. So in the kitchen, what I'm doing is just spooning lots of different papers and then setting them on trays or poking them on here with the little clips. Well, they're supposed to stay there. and then just constantly working just to make more and more pieces. This is an antique French patisserie paper. And then I use this technique to create the dots, because if you just lay it flat, and I hope you can see this, so we have stripes and then dots. If you just lay it flat, then it's not going to dry as a dot. It's going to just expand and turn kind of a brown color. These colors are fabulous, and this is red cabbage, so you can see the difference between the blue and this purple color. Now the way I made this, and I made the dots, is with an application bottle. This is just an old hair color bottle that I saved, and just going to make dots on the paper, just like this. You can use any kind of applicator. You could use a spray bottle. Just remember, the spray bottle is probably going to clog because it's just, you know, the way they do it. They like to clog. So this is how you do it. Then you just set it and let it dry. And this is mixed media paper. We're still talking about cabbage, and I just wanted to show you the red cabbage color. So you can see that it dyes that blue. And I used a shibori technique. So basically all I did was fold it up and used the clothespin, and I dunked it into the red cabbage as it was boiling. And depending on how long you leave it, obviously I left this one in longer than this one. And then this is what you get. And as I said before, you can simply iron it out. This is still damp, and I did this yesterday morning. So this is what it looks like when you do it. Now you'll have those wonderful lines when you when you iron it, so it'll be very cool. This piece I just rolled up, and I used bits of red cabbage leaves. And I think this came out pretty cool. Love it. Just the original tie-dye. Now remember that blueberry that we had going on the stove? I'm going to show you that in just a second. Blueberries, as you can see, kind of similar to the red cabbage, but it's still a really fun color. And you can just simply poke the paper in. Like I said, you can use a shibori technique and put the clothespin on it if you want to, and fold it up. You can spoon it. You can do so many things with this. I love using organic dyes. So try it, see what you think. I want to hear about all your results. We are at the end of our segment today, and if you have any questions at all about this, let me know. On my blog on Tuesday, I'm going to have a list of all the colors, how to create them, all the different fruits, vegetables, and spices that you can use. I'll have that on there, and I'm also going to take photos of all the different papers that I've made, and I'm going to work up a project. So we'll have something easy for you to do or to see what I would do with it. And next time, I'm going to show you a project-oriented segment on my mini quote books. So I hope you'll join us for that. And until then, ciao for now. We'll see you later.